Coach, I have a couple of quick questions from Tim. I'm here kind of on his behalf, but just overall thoughts on the season and thoughts on the Coachella Valley.
Well, that's a two-part question. The first question I'll answer. If you look at our season in a nutshell, we went into the season with a lot of promise. We liked our team, and then we kind of got hit with the injury bug right off the hop, with our captain being out most of the year, and then obviously we had a major injury with Melanson, which really sidetracked his season, but he really bounced back with a great second half finish and obviously playoffs. And if you look at the growth of our young players throughout the season, which was incredible, and I think the fans were probably a little used to a little bit more of a veteran team, which is kind of an anomaly in the American Hockey League and the Development League. But we really liked our, if you look at the details and the structure of our game, part of our organizational beliefs or standards are we want to make sure the kids grow and the team grows the second half. And we really saw that. You saw our D-zone coverage get a lot stronger the second half. You saw our penalty kill was outstanding. Our power play got to the point where I think at the trade deadline it was up in first place. And then we kind of hit a wall with the special team on the power play. But when you look at the end product in the playoffs and you look at the growth of the players, I really like the way our team played, especially that Abbotsford series. The growth of our young kids, how hard they played. That series could have went either way. So I would say, yeah, the season was a success. And if you look at the growth of our kids, and we won't see probably those results until training camp. You see these kids come in 3 months more mature, and then we get a chance to say, oh, wow, that playoff really affected him. He really took a step. Now, if you look at our young goaltender, Nikki Coco, who had a hell of a year for a first-year goaltender. So, the organization has a lot of draft picks coming through, and this is kind of the first year of that process going forward. And I think they'd be very happy to see some of the growth of these kids. Unfortunately, we didn't go as far as we wanted. We always want to try and win a Calder Cup. It's very hard to get there, to get through. But overall, my experience with a young team like we had this year, I know our staff were really happy with the way we finished. It was tough to go out in that best-of-5 series against Abbotsford, but I think the Coachella Valley should be very proud of their team. I know the players love playing in front of the fans here. We just did our exit interviews, and the guys just said, it's one of the best places to play in the American Hockey League. The way they're treated by the organization, the way they're treated by the fans and the people of the Valley. So that answers the second part of your question, but it truly is a special place to play, and obviously for the young draft picks coming forward, their goal is to get out of the Valley and get to Seattle. We have to understand that, but for the players that come here, and I kind of hear players already talking about, boy, I'd love to sure retire in Palm Springs or in the Coachella Valley. So it was, I would say, it was a success this year.
Coach, one of the things the Firebirds have done now over the course of 3 years isn't just hockey results. It has very much brought this area together. The founders of this team, the more I think about it, very wise in not calling this like the Palm Springs Firebirds. This is the Coachella Valley Firebirds. This is all our cities. Did you notice that in your first year here in the desert, that this team had a way of galvanizing the valley, of bringing people together?
Yeah, that's the one thing I really noticed. I think it was the first autograph signing at Spotlight 29. A little push there. But I really noticed there just the fans that were from all over the valley when you were talking to them, and I was trying to get to know people, and then just kind of being a part of the valley. My wife's a part of a equine therapy foundation here, and just seeing people all over talking about the Firebirds. So the 2 years have really galvanized the whole area, and I think the fans and the sponsors should be proud of what they have. Obviously, I think it's been a home run for the Seattle Kraken and the organization OVG and of building the building where they put it. And then obviously, I think it's a destination for people to come and watch hockey. And now we're growing a fan base, and they've experienced a new experience this year. They didn't get to the finals. What they had the first 2 years is very special, and now they have to understand, hey, like from day one of training camp, it's a race. It's a race to the playoffs, and when you get to the playoffs, the sprint is on, right? So at the end of the day, I think this whole valley is just they're going to continue to grow, and they're going to continue to understand and grow that fan base on what the American Hockey League is really about.
For you personally, what do you like to do at season's end? Do you still watch hockey? You watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, Calder Cup playoffs, or is it best for you? Do you like to step away for a little bit?
That's a great question. We just had some meetings today with our coaching staff, and one thing I told the guys to do is just put your computers down, walk away from the game for a few weeks or a month, whatever it takes you need to do. And whereas we're coaches, we want to watch the playoffs. We'll follow the American Hockey League, and I have a good friend coaching the Milwaukee Admirals right now, and they just moved on to against the Texas Stars teams I used to coach. So I'll watch that series. But once the hockey's done, I won't do any video until probably middle of July, August, and then start the ramp up for the season, because it is such a long season, and you put so much in during the season.
Coach, on a personal level, how excited are you to have, like you said, just so many young players coming back next year with the addition of guys in the juniors right now? Really exciting time.
Well, I think the fans are going to be in for a treat. If you look at some of the young players that we had this year, Jagger Furcus, Yanni Newman, you got Coco, Goyette, you can go up and down the lineup, and you get the kids coming in next year. You got Rakop, Price, Dragicevic, and then we saw a glimpse of Oscar Nygaard. It's incredible. So the fans are really going to be in for a treat next year with this young team, and you're going to see them grow right in front of you. We saw some guys grow this year and into the playoffs, and now we're going to see the next batch grow right in front of our eyes. And our goal is to take 2 or 3 guys per year and get them up to the Seattle Kraken. Not every guy can go up and play, so you're going to see guys go up and down and get bits and pieces here. Then finally they're going to go up and stick, and then they're gone, and then the next bird's going to come in, and we're going to get them into the nest, and we're going to kick them out.
Coach, it's kind of an unusual situation right now with the Kraken not having a head coach, especially for an AHL coach. A lot of times one of your roles is kind of create continuity between the styles of play. Is that, kind of how are you thinking about this summer when that announcement will come? Will there be some sort of, conversations and cohesion between you and what's happening up in Seattle?
Yeah, that's for another day. So what'll happen once Seattle hires a coach, then obviously we'll sit back and have some meetings with their head coach and their staff and see what style of play they're going to play, and we'll integrate that into our style. It's not really that much of a change. Okay. At the end of the day, everybody plays pretty well the same way. There's a couple different systems that are a little bit different, but at the end of the day, we'll try and conform to what they're doing up there. And we did make a change late in the season. I'm not going to tell you what that was, and we were really happy with it, and it really helped the way we played. So, but at the end of the day, and that was kind of in line with what Seattle was doing. So we just have to make sure that obviously when the new coaching staff goes in there, we have those conversations with them.
And how does your personal experience here compare to other places you've been at on the first year?
Well, you know what? I've been very lucky to coach in some great spots. Boise, Idaho is a beautiful city, great fan base. Austin, Texas, great city, great fan base. But I will say, though, this is probably the best spot I've been a part of. Coming in, I've never been to Palm Springs in my life in the area. My wife's been down here. And just to see how friendly the people were, everybody opened up their arms, and if you needed something, they were willing to help you out, and just the support. And you saw how the fans during the games, they're so excited to be a part of it, and just in between the whistles and the timeouts, they're dancing and singing, and it's not just the hockey, it's the experience, right? And then part of the building, and just it all plays a part. So for me, this is probably the best spot I've been a part of, and hopefully I can make it a long career here.
To give a shout out to the coaching staff and the trainers and whatnot, we see the players. How integral were their roles in helping develop this team this year? That's
a great question. We had coaching meetings this morning, and that's one thing we talked about, the chemistry and the cohesiveness of our staff. Obviously coming in here, I knew Colin Zulinello from a past experience, and I didn't know Brendan Stoney. We hired him, and Tomer came in as a video coach. But after that first month, just through training camp and the development camp, you could see this staff really develop. And we come in every day, and we have a lot of laughs. There's good energy out of our group, and I don't think there was a day we left the rink mad. Like we really enjoyed. We made sure that the energy that we brought reflected in our group as our team. So And then obviously our training staff, Wicks did a great job with the strength conditioning, and Bernie with the therapy, and Thorny with the equipment. So they have a good thing going here with the staff here, and hopefully we can keep that going forward next year. But the group is, if you ask the players, when the players come to this building every day, you have to make sure it's fun for them and there's good energy. And through all our exit meetings, the players are very happy with the way, these guys have been a part of different coaching staffs, and then they really said positive things about our staff, so that's good to know going forward.
This year,
Sorry, go ahead.
this year you had a young team, and we watched them grow and progress. And as you've educated us on, coming from the juniors into the AHL and learning and growing, with a lot of those core players coming back, do you anticipate? And I know this is early, but going the next season, having to go through that same process, or a little bit different with a more mature group?
Well, we're going to have more rookies coming through next year, and you're going to have more rookies coming through the year after that. That's American Hockey League. That's just what it is. What you guys had the first 2 years, again, we talked about, was a bit of an anomaly. So now I think for the fans' perspective, you're going to see these players grow right in front of you. And then, when you see a player go up to the Seattle Kraken, and they're going to have that growth in the NHL. So going forward, the guys that were here this year, we expect and we hope that they take a step next year going forward. And I always talk about paying it forward. So these players that were here this year, when the new players come in next year, they can help them take that extra step and pay it forward. So what you do is you breed a culture where it just looks after itself in time. And that's one thing that our veterans have done the first 2 years of the organization here. The veterans that they had in here were paying it forward to the kids like the young Ty Nelsons and the guys like that. So now those kids can pay it forward going next year. And once you build that culture in your organization, it really moves the machine naturally. And that's one thing that we saw this year. Our group went forward naturally. We were in first place, I think, beginning of March. And then all of a sudden the trade deadline hit, we get some guys called up, and you saw how tight this division is. So those experiences that our young players went through, the peaks and valleys, will set them up for next year, and then it'll help the young kids coming through next year.